More possible clues to Anders Breivik's state of mind are coming out. It's thought he's responsible for this document published online just before Friday's attacks. It's called 2083, a European Declaration of Independence. The 1,500-page manifesto and the included web video rail against multicultural Europe, Islam and mainstream politics. Its author gives advice on bomb making and how to become a martyr for the right-wing cause. Included are photos of a man looking very much like the Norwegian suspect, and its author gives himself the name Andrew Berwick. Now, that's possibly an anglicised version of Anders Breivik. And the diary section ends, "I believe this will be my last entry. It is now Friday, July the 22nd, 12:51. 2 hours later, a massive bomb ripped through central Oslo.
Blake Hounshell is the managing editor at Foreign Policy magazine. He's been through the more than 1,500-page manifesto, believed to have been written by the suspect here. One thing that intrigued me was this idea that he said he's part of a refounded Knights Templar group that met in London. Would that suggest that there could be other people with the same kind of thoughts as his who might be prepared to strike elsewhere?
It certainly suggests it. Now, it could be just idle boasting. I mean, he could be delusional and imagining that he's got more supporters than he actually has. But I'm sure the Norwegian police are going to run down, every lead, and there are a lot of leads in that 1,500-page document.
Because it's a strange combination. Is it part diary, part action plan, part sort of what seems like a bit of a deranged manifesto? What did you make of it?
Well, he called it more of a compendium, and so the first chunk of it, maybe half or two-thirds of it, is ideological writings that he's kind of assembled and curated from the internet to make the case that there's a danger of Muslims and Arabs taking over Europe with the complicity of progressive parties in different countries, including Norway.
The weirdness of that, though, is that he then seems to admire al-Qaeda, even though he seems to despise any kind of Muslim organisation or Muslims in general. He then seems to praise al-Qaeda's tactics.
Exactly. It's bizarre. He lists two successful terrorist organizations toward the end of the document, and one of them is al-Qaeda, which he says is one of the most successful militant organizations in history. And he says it was successful because it was able to adapt to changing circumstances.
The other thing that was interesting was that he seems to put in details on how to avoid getting caught planning an operation like this. And it seems to have taken him quite a lot of time and experimenting with different kind of levels of explosives to get the effect he seems to have achieved.
Right, there's this whole section which is more like a diary where he's got 82 days where he chronicles his attempt to build this bomb. He talks about being exposed to the chemicals and how it's hurting his health and how he hopes he'll be able to pull it off. There are very strange interludes where he talks about the TV shows he's watching, restaurants he goes to. He goes out to dinner with his mother at one point. It's very chilling how he's able to talk about mass murder in the same paragraph as ordinary things.
We've seen a political reaction from Norway saying that they want to continue with their policies as they are. Given the sort of discontent that he seems to have had from their policies over the years, do you think that's something they're going to have to address at all, or do you think they will just stick with the lines they're taking?
Well, no doubt Norway is going to be looking at ways that they can identify people like this and perhaps address some concerns that are at large in the broader Norwegian public, mainstream concerns. But the Prime Minister was very clear that the solution is going to be more openness and more democracy, not a crackdown on freedoms.
OK, Blake Hounshell, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.